So none of the businesses were big enough to become my clients. What? I had a conversation with somebody recently who I'd invited to BNI. So I'd invited them as a potential visitor. And this was over LinkedIn. And they said to me, we only deal with companies with multi-million pound turnovers and 500 plus staff. Will there be any of those at your BNI meeting? And I thought for a minute, and I thought, well, no, there won't be. It's very unlikely that any of those are going to come along. I don't know any of those personally as members of the group. I don't think, no, there won't be. There won't be. So I said, no, there won't be any businesses of that size in the room. However, it's not about who's in the room. It's about who they know and the clients that they have. For example, my company, EngageWeb, one of our clients is a global franchisor, and they have over 1,000 franchisees around the world on 4 continents. 4 continents. And we know them, we've worked with them for a long time. There are other businesses in the room that have companies as clients of equal size across the UK and some of them international. So yeah, there's not going to be a business in the room that has over 500 employees with multi-millions of pounds worth of turnover, but there will be businesses in the room that have those as clients. And they said, no, we're not going to come. We're not going to come. It's not for us. Our kind of clients are not in the room. I said, well, there you have it. They just looked at the room and thought, no, it's not right for us. And I had another conversation just this week. It was Tuesday this week, with a business that was a sales trainer. A sales trainer. He trains people how to make sales. And this is the bit that blew my mind. He trains people how to make sales. And he knew it was BNI from my invite. So he knew what it was about. I was inviting him to Chester BNI, to my chapter, Chester, in the Cheshire West region in the UK. And he said, I've been a member of BNI before, about 10 years ago, and it didn't work for me because I found that in my BNI group, there weren't any businesses big enough that had teams of salespeople, of 3 or more salespeople, that were able to use me as a trainer for them. So none of the businesses were big enough to become my clients. What? Really? And I replied back to him and said, no, I imagine that's probably correct. There probably aren't many businesses in a BNI group that have teams of salespeople. There'll be 1 or 2, but there aren't going to be many businesses with teams of salespeople. But, and I can't believe I had this conversation with a sales trainer, but remember, it's not about who's in the room. It's about the clients they have and who they can introduce you to, but not just who they can introduce you to as a sort of a cold introduction, who they can introduce you to and recommend you to because they've got to know, like, and trust you as a trusted colleague, someone who they could work with. BNI is about leveraging the people in the room to get in front of their contacts. If you just looked at the room as, right, this chapter's got 30 people in it, there's 30 potential clients here. Once I've got all of those as clients, then, well, I'm going to leave and go somewhere else and go to another group or another networking organization altogether, as some members do actually do. If you look at it like that, it's not going to work for you. You need to look at those 30 members in the room and say, right, they've got 200 clients, they've got 50 clients, they've got 30 clients. Between all of them, there are thousands and thousands of clients you could be introduced to, and that doesn't include their suppliers, their former clients, the contacts they've made, the contacts from other networking groups, their friends and the family they've got. All of those people are at their fingertips. They're the people you want to be introduced to, not go into the room and try and sell to the room. And I had this conversation with a sales trainer of all people. What kind of sales trainer just doesn't get this? I don't know. I don't understand it. And I face this all the time with people looking at BNI, looking at a chapter and going, my target clients aren't in the room. I had one, And this is staggering. I had one whose target clients were mortgage brokers. And he said to me, and I can't believe he said this, "Will there be multiple mortgage brokers in the room?" No. It's a BNI meeting. There's only going to be one mortgage broker in the room. He is a potential client of yours, I suppose, but there's only going to be one mortgage broker in the room. Then it's not for me. I'm not interested because I only want to be put in touch with hundreds of mortgage brokers around the UK. So, well, do you know how many mortgage brokers are in BNI? Do you know how many mortgage brokers you can contact through BNI Connect if you were to become a member? Yeah, no, I just want to go to a room where there's going to be loads of mortgage brokers. And I didn't point out to him that we actually work with a mortgage broker trainer who trains hundreds and hundreds of mortgage brokers, and we have a database of thousands of mortgage brokers. It's not about who's in the room, it's about who they know. But they didn't get it, But perhaps the biggest kicker is my own personal experience. I delivered my Thank Business this week in our BNI meeting, as I do at the beginning of every month. I put the Thank Business in for the month, and I thank the members in the room that had given me referrals that had led to business in the previous month. I put in Thank Business to ex-members, so I thank the chapter for that, and I put Thank Business into other chapters in the region and across the UK that had given me business. And of the business I got last month, about 10% came from my own chapter. 10% came from my own chapter or referrals from within my own chapter. The rest came from ex-members and from members of other chapters within the region and across the UK. You cannot look at who's in the room when you're looking at a BNI meeting. If you're a member of BNI, you can't just look at who's in the room. You have to look beyond that. Their clients, their contacts, other chapters, other members' clients, other members' contacts. Look beyond your room, because it is a big, big world out there. There's a lot of people within BNI and networked outside of BNI that they have access to that can be your target clients and your ideal referrals. Don't just look at the room, look at the wider scope throughout the whole of the country, the continent, the world, because it is a big place out there. Thank you.